Hello and welcome to another Mine vs. Craft video. Now, for those of you that have seen The Realm episode 1 and 2, good, you can continue watching this video. For those of you that haven't, I strongly advise you to go watch them first, and then this video might just make a bit more sense and you'll know what we're talking about. Now, for this video, I'll be discussing the backstory that me, Celadon Leader, and Jam made for The Realm. Now, I'll be reading from a book, so I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Not so long ago, the ancient race, or as they call themselves, the Oud-raza, were still together and worshipped the same god, the bedrock god, but their story goes back much further than that. While the first part of this story remains not documented by any being, we can tell you the rest. The Oud-raza have learned many skills and tricks for any kind of invasion. Some have learned how to control the movement of water, and others learned how to move the wind around them, as if they are some kind of gods themselves. They lived in peace and harmony for thousands of years. They worked hard on building their society and what kind of life they wanted to live. And with every hard thing that happened to them when building, another good thing happened. Although very powerful, they stuck strictly to their traditions, so they were not very technologically advanced. Although the exact number is not specified, they lived this way for a long time, not with a particular aim in mind, not trying to reach some goal, just trying to live. There were many jobs one could have, but all involved helping the community. Those who learnt the ways of the wind and the water found their lives significantly easier than those without powers. These abilities were a temporary gift from the bedrock god, and those who worshipped him most, monks, priests, and dedicated followers of the religion, were the most learned in this skill. This led to a large rise in the amount of worship, and being a monk went from a poorly paying peasant's job to a well-respected occupation. Day in, day out, they tried to make their habitat work with their lives and powers. Quickly progressing, their city grew as buildings popped up everywhere. Their roads were made of dark stones and cobbled rocks. On the other hand, their buildings were a strong shelter to live in, and pillars were made to hold the structures up. They made sure there was a water source, so the people in the city with water powers could use them to help the construction. They based the town around this canal, which to the advantage of the wind weavers had a current of fresh air to practice with. Their church, being the holy place of worship, was abnormally tall. So tall, in fact, those who stood at the topmost point could see all the town, and some claimed to have touched the sky while praying to God. They had a small marketplace where people sold their hard-earned goods for diamonds, and occasionally to be prayed for by a priest. Their system functioned rather well, leaving an equal divide of wealth, but monks and priests happened to be better off than most. Occasionally, a particularly dedicated and talented individual may learn the ways of both wind and water. These happened to be priests most of the time, and they would be treated as royalty. Some would join the army, using their mix of abilities to hunt and guard for the Oud-raza, whereas others would stay as priests, gods first in line, and be seen as the most important people in society. The numbers were very few, maybe 5 a generation, were chosen to bear the responsibility and strength. The legendary god, Aquaventus, were formed when 4 of these miracles, 2 of whom had been priests, found themselves in the same place at the same time. The Aquaventus were crime-fighting heroes in the Oud-raza's eyes, and played a key part in keeping the people safe. But little did they know there was a falling alien ship going to land straight on top of the city they worked so hard to protect. So I hope you enjoyed this little section of backstory for the realm. If you want to hear chapter 2, join us next time. Thank you, and goodbye. Oh, you're still here. Well, I decided since the background footage I was using was a bit too long, I would give you a sneak peek at the next chapter. Don't worry, it's not from the next chapter, it's the introduction of the book that relates to the second chapter. Beep, honk, beep! The sound blasted from the loudspeaker, and although there were no lights, there was a flashing, blinking feel in the air. Possibly the beat of the hearts, maybe the rhythm of the vehicle, or maybe just the panic. "We are going down!" The pilot's commanding voice echoed through the silence of the ship. For a second, just a second, everything stopped. The ship was still. The beeping had finished, and the chatter disappeared, beating the speed of sound, leaving a ringing sensation slicing through our ears. The breath before the leap. And then time caught up. The ship rattled as the square planet drew closer to us. There was burning, not on the inside, but any views of this beautiful place were quickly replaced with flames. There was no going back now. Thank you and goodbye.